to another episode of the Urban Wall Street Project. I'm your host, Earl Christian III, and today I want to talk about something that can be extremely valuable and extremely beneficial for our young urban Americans. The topic of today's show is called Helping My Community Helps Me. Helping My Community Helps Me is an economic initiative that I created to help maximize the urban dollar and give young individuals, junior high school and high school students, a fighting chance when it comes to financing post-secondary education. Post-secondary education, unfortunately, is not seeing the numbers of individuals from urban America as we would like to see for the prosperity of our community and our livelihoods. One reason is because the resources are not there, or if our resources are there, we're just not familiar with how to go about getting them. A lot of times, individuals don't go to college or they defer college because they don't have the resources, they don't have the money, so they don't know if they have any options, or they pretty much count themselves out. The Helping My Community Helps Me initiative is to create and foster proactivity amongst young individuals. Once upon a time, back in the 60s or the 70s or even prior to that, families would have what we call college funds, savings account, and those funds were primarily for individuals and the children to go to college. The families wouldn't touch it, and they would let that nest egg build. So when it came time for individuals to go to college or the children to go to college, there was a little something put aside, so that they could finance at least that first year or the second year, or maybe even the entire year. But unfortunately, as times have passed, and with inflation and economics being the way they are, a lot of individuals in urban America, the Black and Latino community and other, can't afford to actually put money aside. And if they do put money aside into a college fund, a lot of times they may wind up dipping into it for another particular need or necessity. And the plan is, of course, to put the money back, but unfortunately that doesn't always happen. So what can we do about it? How can we help young people in urban America capitalize on the opportunity to go to college and then finance that post-secondary education? Yes, there are student loans and there is financial aid, but if you stay abreast, the financial aid packages, they're kind of decreasing. And as they decrease, sometimes not by a lot, maybe 1 or 2% in different areas or based upon your particular qualifications, but tuition is increasing. So tuition increases across the map, and financial aid packages kind of decrease, and then that just opens up the door for student loans. Now, I myself was on a student loan when I went to college, and it wasn't a bad thing, I suppose. I mean, the objective is get your education. But if you can get your education and finance it yourself, or finance it in part with money that you have from a nest egg or a college fund, and not necessarily have to go strictly or directly to student loans and have an overwhelming amount of student loans, then that's a beautiful situation. The Urban Wall Street Project, that's what you're watching. The whole purpose of it is to maximize the urban dollar. So how can we do that? Well, I want to talk about an initiative that I created as the president and CEO of Nothing But Money Incorporated. When I got involved in industries and I started partnering with different corporations, of course it's all about creating wealth and sustenance. But at the end of the day, I said, how can I truly benefit the community? A lot of us see what's going on in the communities, and we want to do something about it, or we talk about it, or we complain about it, but we're not as proactive as we need to be. Unfortunately, we're waiting for, politicians who we elect and put in place to, make things all right. But as we watched in a couple of last episodes, when the government broke, we know that politicians and the government may not always be there to assist us. And if they are, there's always seem to be some catches, or there's always something that seems to deter us or just make us shun that particular opportunity. The Helping My Community Helps Me telecom initiative was created and born from the fact that I have partnered with a company, a major telecommunications company. If you're staying abreast of the times and where technology is going, we've been paying attention. You see there's companies like Vonage and SunRocket and Skype. These are a lot of VoIP companies. These are broadband internet phone service. Now, what is broadband internet phone service? Well, broadband internet phone service gives individuals the ability to utilize the fiber optics of the World Wide Web for all that telecommunications need, for global communication. Now, yes, in the past, we have the Verizon, the AT&Ts, the Bell South. Different regions all had the monopolies that had that region. Well, things are changing. Times are changing. And now we're moving on to broadband internet phone service, meaning individuals can utilize the World Wide Web to make their telecommunications needs, to make their telephone calls, and get the same services that they were getting from generally analog. Remember, everything is going from digital, wire analog to digital, from wired to wireless. So as technology changes, we have to stay abreast of that and be able to maximize and capitalize on those opportunities. So what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the fact that here we have millions and millions of dollars being paid every single month to a telecommunications need. Now let's talk about telecommunications, because I want you to understand the magnitude of what this program can do for anybody that's watching. If you're a high school student, if you're a junior high school student, if you're a college student and you want to do something real positive for yourself, you want to be proactive in your future, I'm creating an opportunity. The Helping My Community Helps Me College Fund initiative is about raising funds for your college experience, but by simply redirecting the percentage of money that the community is already spending. So what am I talking about? Well, let's look at it like this. If you're a Bronx resident, or if you're a resident of any other city, you think about the magnitude and of the money that's being spent and generated every month on telecommunications. Here in the Bronx, we have 1.5 million documented residents. Out of those 1.5 million documented residents, I would easily say 500 subscribe to some telecommunications provider. It's just a service that's a necessity, and we have to have it. It's necessary. So we pay whatever the fee is, $50, $60, $100, whatever our bill is. But let's think about this for a moment. In the Bronx, where we need more resources for education, we need more resources for after-school programs, we need more resources for daycare, whatever the case may be. We need more resources so that we can provide our students and our children and our young people with scholarships for college so that they can live out and achieve some of their dreams. 500,000 people pay a $50 phone bill to the current service providers. That's $25 million every 30 days. I've used this example in the past. $25 million every 30 days going out. Now, that $25 million being spent on a service, whether you use that service or not, in the month, you're still going to have to pay that bill. If there's a way to capitalize and maximize our dollar, we should think about it. We should look into it. We should investigate the possibilities. Here's a possibility that I've created. Helping My Community Helps Me. How many people want to save money? Everybody wants to save money. How many people want to get more for their money? Everybody wants to get more for their money. How many people will be willing to save money, get more for their money, and indirectly contribute to the generating of funds for individual college funds for students in junior high school? Whether you do it for a year, 2 years, or 3 years. Well, let's look at this. Here we have 10,000 people. This is the goal of the Helping My Community Helps Me. It's a telecom initiative. 10,000 individuals in the Bronx. 10,000 people subscribing to the technology of the future, which is broadband internet phone service. Because rest assured, if you don't have broadband internet phone service, over the next 2 to 3 to 4 years, you will have it. Just as 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have cell phones. We all had pages. Well, now we all have cell phones. Very few of us, if any, have a pager. Well, think about this. 10,000 Bronx residents subscribing to the newest technology, the wave of the future in telecommunications. You will subscribe to it. Well, when those 10,000 people subscribe, it's $25 a month. Now, you see broadband phone service, $200 a year, $199 for the year, with global telecommunication services and all the same amenities that you get from your current provider. Or $25 a month, flat rate, $25. You're not paying any taxes because the fiber optic of the web, so it's a whole new dimension in telecommunications. Now, understand, over 4 million Americans currently are subscribing to broadband internet phone service. And monthly, over 1,500 individuals a month nationwide are adopting this new, subscribing this new service because they're saving thousands of dollars annually. Well, let's think about this with your current provider. We'll take 10,000 people from the Bronx. 10,000 people pay Verizon or Sprint or whoever the case may be for your home service, $50. 10,000 times 50, I believe that's $500,000. $500,000 every 30 days. Imagine those same 10,000 people now subscribing to the new telecommunications, broadband internet phone service. You're going to be there, so you will have it. But now when you subscribe, because you come through the Helping My Community Helps Me, and you're supporting young people in the community, young students who are being proactive in their future, that will generate $100,000 in revenue that will go directly back to the students. Think about that. For every subscriber, $10 will go into an educational fund specifically for each individual. So here's an opportunity for students to have an internship. That's all about them. It's all about their future. Here's an opportunity for students to be proactive and help in their community, help individuals save money, and generate revenue for a college fund. Now, what I'm talking about is it profound? Maybe so. But it's not something that could not have been done. You think about the telecommunications providers that we may have in our community. Because really what it is about capitalizing and maximizing, the same as these businesses are maximizing on our dollars. We spend $1.8 trillion a year, or a little bit less than that, maybe $1 trillion. But if you know what $1 trillion is, that's a lot of money that we spend. And our communities don't reflect it, nor do these companies give back directly so that students and children of the subscribers can benefit. Because big business doesn't work like that. But you think about this, and this is something the Urban Wall Street Project can do. So if you're sitting at home and you're a teacher, you're a principal, you're a director of an after-school program or a boys club, or any program that works with kids and works with youth, and you want to put them involved in something that will teach them wealth principles, it'll give them the opportunity to do something really positive for themselves and their families, and to give them the opportunity to maybe graduate from college without the exorbitant student loan debt that so many of us in the past have had to deal with and will deal with in the future. 10,000 individuals from the Bronx supporting a cause for our students, for our children, for our youth. $100,000 in redirected telecommunications dollars. Now I ask you, is there a program anywhere in this country that directly directs or redirects, if you will, revenue from a particular community back to that community? So you take a section of the Bronx, there's 12 different districts. Each district may have 100,000 people. Well, you take 1/10 of District 1, 1/10 of District 4, 1/10 of District 5. That might give you 10,000 people, 10,000 households. I'm sure in those households there are students who do aspire to go to college. Unfortunately, their parents may not have the resources and may not even know how to go about finding the resources. Yes, there are monies out there, but a lot of times there's a lot of hurdles you got to go through. There's a lot of paperwork that you may have to go through. There's writing that might be involved. And whatever the case may be, we don't always seem to put our best foot forward to get it. Sometimes we wish there was an easier way. The reality is America is one of the richest countries in the world, with some of the richest people in the world. And the fact that every child in America, every child in the Bronx, every child in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, cannot go to college or cannot achieve their dreams or go for their dreams because their family might lack the resources, I think it's a travesty. This is why I've created this program. The Helping My Community Helps Me will accomplish a few things. It'll teach students the importance of being proactive and standing on your own and doing something positive for yourself. It'll help people help students while they're helping themselves. Because the bottom line is all about saving money. Remember, the theme of the Urban Wall Street Project is maximize the urban dollar. So here's an opportunity, an initiative that's created that we can capitalize on the newest technology that soon will consume us, that being broadband internet phone service, and redirect a percentage of the money directly back to our kids, our students, our youth. See, my whole take on the situation is I'm not particularly a fan or advocate of waiting for government subsidy or waiting for a politician or waiting for legislation to pass a bill or a law that's going to benefit us when we're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars a month. Cell phones, sneakers, clothes, ringtones, earrings, jewelry, cars, all the things that do not generate revenue. They do not have the value that we place on them in all actuality. Because a cell phone is not really worth anything. If you ever tried to sell one back, you know it. Sneakers, you wear them for a couple of months and now you want a new pair. So we have to be conscious of the revenue that we're spending. If it's not helping the community, then it's not helping you. Helping my community helps me. How many students out there? How many parents out there? How many teachers? How many directors would love for their students to be a part of a program that's going to put them in line to learn true business skills, gain business sense, and capitalize off of a $200 billion industry as it stands, and over the next 3 to 5 years, $600 billion a year in revenue being generated. We're talking about tapping into revenue streams in a way that has never, ever been done before. So what does it take? Well, fortunately for you watching, I've done most of the work. I've partnered with companies. I've spent the money. I've done my due diligence. I've done the research. I've aligned myself so that I can do some positive things and create an urban Wall Street movement that paralleled that of the Black Wall Street in the early 1900s. So how do we do it? There's an email address. We have a website. We have a telephone number. I could come speak to your student. I could come to your program. It's not really a hard situation when we're talking about. The bottom line is something has to be done. I look at Katrina, as I did a special. Thousands of displaced families. Thousands of dreams possibly going to be deferred. Thousands of dollars in revenue loss. Thousands of dollars in future revenue loss because families that were feeding themselves and their families and individuals that were feeding their families and themselves have lost their jobs. There's nowhere to go back to. That's a major region. Now think about it. I know everybody in New Orleans had a home phone. I know they were all subscribing to some provider, Bell South, Southwest Bell, somebody, SBC. Somewhere there's a major entity that was reaping great rewards from low-income communities because they were providing a service. The goal is provide a service to ourselves. The goal is when other folks are getting wealthy off of our dollar, we're getting comfortable as well. Wealth principle number one is definitely pay yourself first. Most of us work a job and we say, look, I work every day. I'm going to buy myself something. I don't care if it's a hat. Because it makes no sense to work every single day, day in and day out for somebody else and not treat yourself. It makes no sense to work every single day, day after day, month after month, year after year, and you can't afford to provide yourself the finer things in life. You can't afford to pay for your child to go to college. You can't afford to send your child to college without it stressing you. Your child doesn't have to feel like they have to have ridiculous student loans and be afraid of the debt they're going to be in because there's no money. My brothers and sisters out there, everybody, it's time to make a change. I challenge you. I'm giving it away. Some people say, it seems too good to be true. Who would do that? Well, a person that cares about the future. A person that cares about the generations that's coming behind them. I'm from the South Bronx. I'm from the hood. I went to a public school. But I was fortunate enough to have a parent that was real strong and directed me and made sure I did the right thing. But even with all of that greatness that was instilled upon me in a direction, I still was not financially literate. I still was not aware of the loopholes of having student loans. I did not have a nest egg. Fortunately, my parent was able to do certain things, but at the end of the day, I still had over $20,000 in college debt. I'm not mad at that because I received an education that's priceless, and that's the key. Your education is priceless. So if education is priceless, if education is the key, why there's so many restrictions placed upon getting money and allocations for our students and our youth? Helping my community helps me. How many people want to help the community? If you watch my show, at the beginning of every show, I have a quote from Carter G. Woodson that says, cooperation is the most essential element in the development of a people. Interdependency is such an important element in the development of a people. If we are not working together as a team in a concerted effort, we will not see the fruits of our labor. It will not happen. So I challenge you. Who wants to be proactive in their future? Who wants to make something positive happen? Do you have a child in the 7th grade that needs to be involved in something? Do you have a child in high school that wants to go to college but not sure how they're going to finance it? And even if they are able to finance it, how about all the other incidentals that come? How about learning business principles at an early age so that when you get into college and when you get out of college, you're able to maneuver through the system of credits and checks and balances? Because rest assured, if you have a child out there that's going to college or they're aspiring to go to college and they're in high school, you want to promote that. You don't want your child to think that they can't go to college and acquire their dreams because of lack of money. There is no lack of money in America. I'm going to say it again. There is no lack of money in America. We see these businesses and some of these tycoons making ridiculous amounts of money. One person with $100 million and another person with nothing. A family with nothing. One person with $100 million can send several families, several kids to college. But that's just, that's just not how the world works. But it could. That's what I've created. Sometimes people say, oh, it sounds too good to be true. It can't be true. Sometimes things are true. God, some people feel it's too good to be true, but we believe and know that there is a God. Here's the opportunity. Help your community. Get involved. Bring the opportunity to other students. It's an unlimited supply of people. Unlimited amount of opportunities. Any student, high school, junior high school, college, that wants to do something, be proactive, and figure out a way to get some extra money for their college tuition, just for their books, for food, for meal, for housing. Understand this. Every single month, there's a telecommunications provider that's receiving and generating millions and millions and millions of dollars. As we move into the future, fast forward, broadband internet phone service companies are going to reap millions and millions and billions of dollars. Very little of which, if any, will be directly given back specifically to the community that generated the revenue for education. It's unheard of. And if there is a program that's out there like that, please reach out to the Urban Wall Street Project. Let me know about it, because I'd like to partner with that person, sit down with the CEOs of those companies, and form a nice alliance. But in the absence of that, know that the Urban Wall Street Project is a conduit that can redirect revenue from services that we subscribe to monthly for us. Think about it as a rebate. A lot of people might buy a computer, and the computer costs $600. But once you mail in the rebate, you get $150 back. You buy that $600 computer, and your goal and your objective is to definitely get $150 back on that rebate. Smart people will mail that rebate back in. What they want to do, they want to maximize their dollar. I want to get a little bit of it. Dell or whoever, Apple, they're going to get $600. Can I get $150 back? Well, imagine a rebate system when every time somebody bought a $600 computer, Dell or Microsoft, whoever, well, Microsoft does amazing things, so I won't even count them in it. But just imagine, if every time somebody bought a software application, a percentage was given directly back to that population. So if there's a Staples in the Bronx, there's a Staples or Office Depot in Manhattan, or Queens and Long Island, and they generate $250,000 from a certain demographic, because a lot of times when you go to the store, they want to know your address, your zip code, or your telephone number. And by knowing that telephone number, that lets them know the geographical location, where that person is. So recognition is the key. It's very important that we recognize how to maximize our dollars. We're going to spend the money. The money is going to be generated annually, monthly. Helping my community helps me is an opportunity for you to get involved with yourselves, your future. Think about how you can be proactive, because your future belongs to you. And if you don't take care of your future, then your future might not be taken care of. You've been watching the Urban Wall Street Project. I'm your host, Earl Christian III. I hope you learned something. If we can help you, I hope you tune in. Give us a call. Go to the website. send us an email. We'd love to help you get yourself together and get yourself a nest egg started for college. Keep your head up. See you next time.